Hi, I'm Debbie.
And I'm Amy. We are Tessie Pearl, a community for widows. Today we're going to talk about financial questions widows may have after the loss of a loved one. So Debbie, you worked in the banking world. Mm-hmm. You met with widows, someone who had lost their spouse, and you found they had a lot of questions and concerns. Tell me a little bit about that.
The first thing I found was that the foggy brain is very, very real.
Describe that. What does that mean?
I was talking to one woman and she just says, oftentimes I don't even know what my own name is.
Yeah.
And it's just, the everyday things that we take for granted that we know and do, very habitual things, it becomes very, very difficult when you're going through grief.
There's this cloud.
It is very much a cloud. And it is very unfortunate that you're going through grief and yet there's so many important decisions that need to be made at this time. So a widow needs to have somebody to help them understand and work through the have-tos that they need to do now and things that they can set aside. But I did find that a lot of women, particularly who have inherited or they and their husband have had built a great wealth, now the money is all theirs to take care of. Many, many advisors come wanting to move their money. And that is the first thing that they need to not do is do not make any major decisions for 18 to 24 months. This way it gives you, your body and your brain a time to relax and calm down without making these decisions, because oftentimes those decisions that they make are irreversible. And there may be tax consequences if you move investments. And even if it's your son that says, Mom, I've got this good friend who's an advisor, you need to say no.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's no to family members as well as to yourself. You're not making wise decisions at that point in time, and give yourself time to come out of that cloud.
Very good advice. There's so much emotional turmoil and things that are going on. It is really difficult to make those decisions. Mm-hmm. So a few others that come into play at this time is maybe, hey, Mom, we'd love to have you move into us. I think you need to, I don't want you living alone. Please come and stay with us. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
Once again, a major decision would be moving and selling a home. I would recommend that if you don't have to sell your home, don't, and maybe just go spend several weeks or months with them to get a feel of what would happen. But I've just seen so many widows that they sell their home way too quickly. They move away from their support system. Oftentimes they're moving, to another city, another state. And the family had great intentions to be your support, but they're all busy. And so, you are left on your own. So really think that one through as to whether that's going to work for you or not. I know my uncle recently died and their daughter was on another end of the state, and they did move her up to a home there, but they did visit about that prior to my uncle passing away. And it made sense in their situation to do that. But in most cases, if you don't have to.
So the decision was made before the death and the grief fog and all that. Yeah. That's important to note that. And ultimately, you know what's best for you. But these are just some suggestions based on people that we've visited with and clients. So another question, what about paying off a mortgage? Is that something you should do right away?
And oftentimes this comes in if there was a life insurance benefit, what should I do with it? And this is a good question for your financial advisor to see what is best for your situation. Oftentimes, especially where they were low interest rates, it didn't make sense to pay off that mortgage too quickly, to keep it in cash or invest it. So that depends on the situation of each individual person. But that's where you take that to your advisor.
Any other thoughts? When you met with those who had lost their spouses, kind of describe what you saw and why you have put these cautions into play.
Sometimes I saw women that were in situations where the man had really control over the pocketbook. And so this was the first time that the woman really was able to make financial decisions and kind of went overboard. So you have to monitor your money behavior, and you find out what your money personality is and it sometimes like this.
Yeah. You also found that some women really didn't know how to even manage money or to manage any of their assets, how to take care of those. They were in the dark about a lot of the things that were going on.
I had several spouses and this was out of love. I realized that you have so much on your plate. I'll take care of the finances. But in the event of becoming a widow, how devastating that was. They came in and we went through the online statements, statement by statement, and found out what bills they even had. And we had to, one woman, her name wasn't even on the mortgage. And it just, it's devastating. And so they are not only going through grief, they're now having to learn and understand about what bills they had and staying on top of those things. But I've also been aware of that women who are even very involved financially, it's just a struggle at that time.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's another thing that you have to deal with. And it seems like it's the most pressing thing that has to be dealt with. And oftentimes it is. A lot of those things.
Yeah.
So what then, when you wanted to bring this financial piece and coach women who have lost their spouses and are now the sole manager of their estate, why did you do that? And what do we offer in Tessie Pearl?
I just found there was a gap in the financial industry because as a financial advisor, it wasn't that people didn't want to help, but they didn't have the time. There were other responsibilities that they had to do for all of their clientele. And the same as a
time
banker.
to educate.
Time to educate, time to go through paperwork with them. And even as a banker, I loved doing that. But that wasn't how I was getting paid either.
Right.
And so I wanted to help these women, and I knew I couldn't do it in the situation I was in. So I had to step away from the banking world and create this company. But when I got out, I realized that widows need so much more than just financial education. So I wanted to create a community where widows can support each other. They can get their questions answered, financial questions and emotional questions with you. And it can be a full suite of products and information that they can learn from here.
And be well cared for.
Well cared for. And there's no stupid questions. If you have a question, somebody else does. Yeah. And the real goal is to help you work confidently with your advisors. And if we don't know the answer, we will find the answer for you.
If you have questions, or if this resonates with you, or you want further coaching, please look us up at tessiepearl.com.